7 years ago, I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. It impacted my marriage, it impacted my career, it impacted my relationships with people around me, it impacted my well-being.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Thomas Chen Show, where we feature experts, luminaries, and trailblazers across different industries and movements. And today, we are diving into the topic of inner peace. You see, ladies and gentlemen, having inner peace is one of the key traits of high performers. Being able to stay clear-headed and at peace in face of challenges and conflicts. And right now, in this period of challenging times, it is certainly even more relatable and applicable. And it's essential for us to really explore how we can achieve inner peace so that we can still live life to the fullest, regardless of the challenges and difficulties we meet. And that's why today, I invite the right person to share with us. So who is our guest for today? Well, she's the founder of Kamilah MS, and she's a trained life coach with NLP Practitioner certification, as well as being a Certified Reiki Master. She's also an advocate of happy parenting and inner peace. So today is going to be a very enriching session. Ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. Let's give a very warm welcome to Nur Kamilah.
Hi everyone, thank you so much,
Hello.
Thomas.
Yes, thanks for being part of this, really appreciate it. So perhaps to start off, introduce a bit about yourself, your journey, and how it has been thus far for you.
I will start off by sharing why I'm in this journey of inner peace. 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. It impacted my marriage, it impacted my career, it impacted my relationships with people around me, it impacted my well-being. Then I realized that I needed to do something about it. I wanted to get well for the sake of my children. I'm a mother of 4 children, and they are 16 years old, 14 years old. I have a boy-girl twins. Back then, I didn't have the twins, so I only have the first 2, right? I wanted to get well because of them. And I didn't know what it was like to have inner peace, but it's through that journey of healing, I found my inner peace. After I let go of my career, after I let go of, after I excused myself from the usual circles that I was always with, which was work, my work circle. That time I was also volunteering in an educational company. And I also excused myself from that circle. And I also excused myself from my family. So I took a drastic move for myself to heal myself, to discover who I am and what triggered my anxiety. When I was out from that circle, then I asked myself, okay, now what? I don't have my career. I don't have my friends that I usually hang out with. So I decided to pursue my hobbies. And that's when I enrolled in a hiking group. I joined a hiking group in Singapore. Every weekend I go hiking with them in Malaysia. And I also joined a badminton group in Malaysia. I have a house in Malaysia, used to work in Singapore back then. So I then moved back to Malaysia with my mom. I played badminton for 3 times a week. And then, yeah, I know it's hardcore, right?
So very good. I should learn from you.
Yeah. And then I also joined a totally new industry, because back then I was in a financial industry and I was also in a coaching industry. And I decided to try out a whole different industry, which was in corporate. It's a chiropractic company that deals in health and wellness. And I took on a new role that I've never tried before, which was marketing executive. So totally new role, new environment, new hobbies, new friends. And I discovered something new about myself as well in that journey. And I also learned taking motorbike license, because since I'm going to and fro from Malaysia to Singapore, so I wanted to navigate the jam a lot easier so that I can reach work faster. I enrolled myself in a motorcycle class and I bought myself a motorbike. Yeah, so and that's also a whole new experience for me, because I never imagined in my entire life that I would ride a motorcycle because it was so scary. It was like risky and dangerous. So I never imagined that, oh wow, I actually could ride a motorbike. So day in, day out, I keep discovering something new about myself. Then that's when I realized that I am not confined to just my job, my identity as my career. I am not confined to the circle of friends that I was with. So and my family, my marital status. So that didn't really define me for who I am. So that's my discovery throughout that journey. So and then as I kept going hiking, nature has this wonderful healing energy. You know, when you are surrounded in nature, especially on the summit of a mountain, you get to be at peace with yourself. You just get to have that one-to-one time alone with yourself, and you'll get connected to nature, and it grounded me. So it grounded me, and I was really in touch with myself, who I am, without the urban jungle surrounding me, just being one with nature and being one with everything else that in my life, my emotions, my past, coming to full circle acceptance for what I went through. And that's when I found inner peace.
Very beautiful, very beautiful. All right, so Kamilah, you have shared your transformation. So perhaps you can share a little bit when your before and your after. Was it through a lot of different thought process? You know, you were trying to figure things out, or was it a moment of like spark that helps you to have that 180-degree shift? How was it like during the process? Was it like a gradual process towards who you are today, or it was a shift in mindset that you decided that, hey, you are empowered, you are able to do it, you are adventurous, you can go out and do it? How was the process like?
Personal growth is an ongoing journey. I was exposed to personal development since I was in school. That's when my mom sent me to all these personal development courses and all that. Throughout the secondary school years, I kept on going to leadership programs and motivational camps. And I witnessed the benefit of, going through personal development myself. So I didn't score well in my examinations from primary 1 all the way to Sec 2. After going through this one talk, right, that really shifted my mind, I suddenly become a top 3 student in my class. And then I managed to go through O levels and all that. And I went through debate competition, speaking competition, oratorical competition. And I was very shy person, but it's through that one program that I went, I suddenly have this shift in my mindset that it's very important for me to do something about my life and my future, because the motivational speaker said that you wouldn't want to live a life building ship. Not trying to criticize those who are currently building ship on that, but that's what the motivational speaker said. But so it gave me a sense of responsibility that I have the power to choose which path I want to go in terms of my future, and I have to make the right actions and decision right now. So I decided to study for myself and for my future, not because of what my mom telling me what to do or the teachers telling me what to do. So yeah, I start to have responsibility over my life. Yeah. So throughout growing up, I didn't really have adults guiding me. So I was just navigating on my own. I wanted to make the right decisions for myself, and I keep enrolling myself to all these courses, and I read books. So every year I would accomplish new things in my life. Every year my life is very different. And even though I went through divorce, that is just one situation that had me learn about myself even more. Every time when I face with challenges or make mistakes in life in the past, it gave me valuable lessons and insights to how I can move forward. For me, my mistakes and my experiences are my teachers, and also all the courses and the books that I've read.
I really love what Kamilah just said. It's when facing challenges and mistakes, many people, they tend to shun it. Many people, they tend to feel very upset about it. But if you notice what Kamilah said, she actually look at it as a learning opportunities, right? Regardless of how big the challenges are, she actually used these challenges to learn from them and grow from them. And I think this is the mental reframing that can really help us to achieve that peace and achieve that growth itself. Yeah, that's very beautiful. And also love how, a motivational speaker is able to, help her to shift her mindset as well. So I know many people out there, they think motivation is just rah-rah, but I feel that that's not true, because motivational speakers, they can really help you to shift your mindset. People like Tony Robbins, etc. If you really absorb the message and if you really dive into it, right, I feel that it's game changer. And I think, and I'm so glad that Kamilah is a beneficiary of it. And that's how she also, through her own personal experience and her own personal growth as well, become who she is today. Very amazing. All right, so now let's dive into the main question itself, the main topic for today, inner peace. So Kamilah, what's your definition of inner peace and why is it important?
First, we define inner peace, right? Inner peace is just an opposite for outer peace. If you are talking about inner peace, it means that you are relying on yourself, your inner self, okay? So, of course, we cannot see our inner self. When I say inner self, what do you mean by inner self? What does it look like? All right, let's talk about the outer peace first, right? So, most of us, we tend to want world peace. We want to, have people in Singapore be in compliance with the regulations so that we can go out and dine out with our family members, all right? So we want to wait for things to happen to have this for the outer peace so that we can be happy. Until something happened outside externally, then we'll be happy. So that's how most people relate to their life. That's very common. Like, for example, if they get a promotion, if they get a pay raise, or they get a dream job, or they get married to the perfect spouse, or their children listen to them, their children score A's in their results. So those are the things that people are often focusing on, which is the outer peace, or that translates to happiness. Nothing wrong with that, okay? But there is a huge difference when you look inwards and focus on your inner self, because inner self is something that is within your control. If you are focusing on the external piece or the outer piece, it's 100% is not your control, right? Yeah, and most of the time you end up pulling your hair, being really frustrated and stressed. So that's why it's very important for us to focus on something that we can control, to be at peace with ourselves internally, because just as much as you can see the turmoil outside in the world, there is an internal turmoil that we got to face as well. So a lot of the people tend to avoid the internal turmoil, such as the thoughts that's going on in their heads, the negative self-talk, the past experiences, the memories, unpleasant memories that they have. So when we don't face that, it will still be there because you don't deal with it, and it will manifest in your outer world. It will show up externally in your relationships, in your career, in your experience with life itself. That's the definition.
Very nice. So just to summarize a little bit about what Kamilah have mentioned, right? So it's actually a lot of people, they are focused on external factors. External factors make them happy, when they find an ideal partner, or when they get the job opportunities, or this. But many times, these are things that we cannot control. And if we depend on these external factors to have peace, sometimes it, removes control from us. But if we were to focus on the inner factors instead, the inner environment, regardless of what happens at the outside, regardless of how chaotic, how challenging it is, when we are able to maintain that inner peace, we remain at peace. And that is something that is more empowering. So very beautiful. Yeah, so perhaps you can share the strength of people with inner peace, people who you observe when they are able to have inner peace, perhaps they are able to lead their team well, perhaps they are able to identify the advantages in the disadvantages. Yeah, what are some, perhaps you can even share some real life examples when you witness these kind of situations happening.
Yeah, I can only give my own examples, all right, because
understand, right? So very good.
Yeah, so for example, if let's say with inner peace, right, you can interact with different types of personalities, because there's different types of people out there, right? So if you are at peace with yourself and your happiness is not dependent on how people treat you or talk to you or behave around you, you are in control of your emotions. So a lot of times we get triggered and angry because of the behaviors of other people. For example, in our family members, our children, our bosses, our colleagues, right? So if they said something that offends us, we get reactive and we get triggered, and then we may say something or do something that could perpetuate the situation or make things worse. So I give you an example about what happened in my previous job. So I had this colleague of mine. So she had I was training the staff there, and then the staff had a misunderstanding about what I said, and she complained to her colleague, and the colleague brought it up to the CEO. We had a board meeting over that matter. To me, I was very clear that it was just a misunderstanding. She took my words personally when I wasn't even directing the words towards her because it was a group meeting. So I just cleared out the misunderstandings. I just explained the facts, like what it was, okay, and there's no additional drama to it, or I wasn't even trying to defend myself so much and try to point fingers at the other person for slandering me or saying things that's not true. So I didn't go down that route. Sometimes when we are being accused of something that we didn't do, we tend to get really defensive, right? How dare you say that? We go into that mode, or confrontational mode, or we would cut off ties with this person, for example. In that working environment, I cannot cut off communication ties with them. I need to work in peace with them. So I found a way to communicate in a way that could help us be at peace with one another instead of creating more enmity. So I asked the person, like, you are here to work to feed your family. I am here to do that as well. So we have a same common goal here. And I'm sure you want to be at peace at your work, and you want to be able to work peacefully and be effective at your work. You don't want to be bothered by all this kind of situation or gossips that's going on. Will it be beneficial for you? Then she said no. So okay, so let's come to a mutual agreement that we are here to support one another, win at our work. We support one another to be effective in our work, and that's all I'm interested in. I apologize. I understand that you care for your colleague, and I apologize if it came across wrong, even though I wasn't at wrong. But I apologize because I have nothing to defend, right? So that's the power of having inner peace. Like, you don't have to bother about being defensive about accusations. You just focus on the big picture about what you want to accomplish, and you act in alignment and be congruent towards the goal that you want to have. We ended up hugging each other and said, "I love you."
So beautiful, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the power of inner peace, right? So how Kamilah's managed to able to resolve the situation so effectively, instead of like many people in that situation, they would have started a quarrel, started a fight, but she's able to assess what is the best move because she has the inner peace in her, and she is even willing to apologize, although she's not in the wrong. Because at the end of the day, she's focused on the end results. And I think the power of inner peace is that it helps us to achieve our end results regardless of how difficult it may be, with all the challenges and difficulties. Because trust me, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when the emotions run high, we cannot think clearly, right? And we will not do the right actions. And I think that's what Kamilah is able to do with inner peace and achieve what she wants to achieve. Very nice. Yeah, and very important, especially in work, when there are differences, different opinions, all this very common. So I think it's also very applicable in work. Of course, it's applicable in family, social setting as well. Because at all these different situations, it is all about communicating with other people as well, right? Yeah, very beautiful. Okay, so perhaps now that we know the power of achieving inner peace, right? What are some common reasons that stop people from achieving it?
The biggest reason is that you are worrying about what people think of you. With the example that I gave you just now, it really affected my reputation, right? Because there's no trust, right? Because other people may have this misunderstanding about me, that they may think that I'm unreliable, or I'm so-called bad, right? So if I worry about what people think of me because someone said something about me, then I would go all out to defend myself and bring the other person down, right? That's the default mode that's me, my default mode, okay? I was very vengeful before having inner peace. I would actually do that, right? So, but when I stopped caring about what people think of me, and I focus more on the other person and focus more on the bigger picture and the objective, I would act in accordance to the result that I want, or the outcome that I want, rather than taking action just to protect my reputation or to save face, for example. Because saving face can only bring you so far, right? But if you look at the bigger picture and the long-term goals, you can actually, go to a lot of places and you'll achieve a lot more. Right? So a lot of people worry about what people think of them, and they don't even dare to speak. You tell big requests, for example, if let's say you are in a meeting, in a group meeting, and you are really hungry, because you came in empty for that meeting, and you felt like you're almost fainting, and you didn't even dare to speak up to say that you need a meal. Sometimes things like that, people don't dare to speak up and say, hey, I need to go to self-care, to take care of myself and my tummy, because can you excuse me for a while? So sometimes people don't dare to even make such requests. Even at the public MRT station, I remember a pregnant woman didn't dare to make requests for a seat, and then eventually she fainted. So that is a very simple example of how caring about people, what people think of you when you want to request for a seat. Because sometimes when you want to request for a seat, no matter how valid your reason is, you may think that, oh, you're being fussy, or you're troubling the other person. For example, you have this kind of imaginary thing which is not true, at the expense of your health, or at the expense of your the well-being of the baby, for example. Yeah, I mean, this is a real life example that I give you.
No, but I think we can totally relate with that, because like sometimes we talk about the face lah, and I can totally agree, because sometimes we don't want to ask, maybe perhaps we don't want to inconvenience people, or we don't want people to think of us as certain image when we do that. But because of that itself, right, it will affect us in one way or another. And yeah, I think that is certainly a very important point to bring across, right? Caring too much about other people's opinion. Although we always hear the saying that those who mind doesn't matter, those who matter doesn't mind, something along that line. But at the end of the day, things like reputation, things like people's perception, as much as we want to try to stay positive and objective about it, sometimes it can be very hard. Especially even right now, right? Like I'm being very open, because in one of the episodes I shared that one of my lowest point in time was in university, and that was because that was when I was first exposed to organizational politics. And yeah, the feeling isn't pleasant, and that's why I think if back then I knew inner peace, I'm able to navigate the way across easily. Right. So very beautiful sharing. Okay, so now that we have dived into some of perhaps the reasons, right, in the angle of caring about what other people think, how about in other areas such as perhaps ego or societal expectations, or maybe being too competitive? Does it affect our ability to have inner peace as well?
Yeah, that all goes under the category of saving face, or worrying about what people think of you. Like, for example, you want to achieve a certain kind of accomplishment just to show to other people that you can make it. Or for example, I mean, that could be a form of motivation to some people. I mean, if it motivates you in a positive way, then by all means. But a lot of the times, when you are just doing it for the sake of caring about what the other people think of you, then maybe the accomplishment may not be something that you really want. So then what you're going to live your life with this, maybe for example the career that you go into. For example, if your family members want you to be a doctor, and you decided to pursue medical degree and become a doctor, for example, and you end up not really enjoying that job because that wasn't really what you want, but because of trying to compete with other family members, or because your parents told you so, then you won't get that kind of fulfillment in your life, like doing the job that you didn't want to do in the first place. Another category is actually thinking about the past. What stops people from experiencing inner peace is that you think a lot about the past, and allowing the past to affect your present moment. All right. I'm sure you've heard about this a lot of times, but this is very important. To experience inner peace is to really be at peace with your past, and letting go of the past. The past has already gone. You can't change it. It's not within your control anymore. So what you can do right now is just to focus on the present moment and just learn from the past and move forward. Then another reason that stops people from experiencing inner peace is thinking a lot about the future in a way that gives them anxiety or fear or worry. All right, so it's an imaginary threat that we believe about the future. Let's say, for example, before we go for a job interview, and the job interview may be the following month, but we are already feeling anxious about it. Oh, what if the person didn't accept my application, or what if the person don't like me? Start to think about what clothes to wear and all that, right? I mean, planning is okay, but when we start to keep thinking about the future in a way that it affects us in the present moment, and that we can't enjoy the circle that we are with, like for example with your family members, because your mind is in the future, and you are experiencing it as if it's happening right to you right now. So that's how powerful our mind is. We can think about something that's happened in the past, and we can think about something that's happening in the future, and our body will register it as if we are experiencing it right now in the present moment. Our mind can't even tell what's real, at that moment, and you start to feel threatened or fearful as if it's happening right now. So of course, you won't experience inner peace. And thinking about past or future is something that you can control.
Yeah, that's very nice. And I do strongly agree with that because personally, I have done so as well. Like, for example, thinking about the past, keep diving into the past. Sometimes when I look back at some of the projects and the tasks I did, right, then I will keep thinking that, hey, I should have done so much better back then. If only I didn't use this, if I used that instead. And it keeps, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, like thinking about things like, if only back then I have worked even harder than I've already worked, how much further can I go? But I can't change it, yet I still keep thinking about it. And after which I have a realization that, of course, when I look back, I feel that I can do better because through this period of time, I have been growing. If I look back and I don't feel that I can do better, right? In this, something is wrong. In this, I have never grown at all. So that was how I make peace about it. But I agree, a lot of people, they stick to the past, and as a result, right, it wastes even more time. It gives them even more hesitation, and yeah, it is something that is not recommended because at the end of the day, regardless of how much we think about it, we cannot change it. We can learn from it, but we cannot change it.
Yeah.
And thinking about our future is also very true. And personally, okay, this may sound a little bit morbid, but I want to be very open with all of you. Sometimes I do think about death because of the incidents that have been happening around nowadays. And I think that one day, what if I really pass on, what is going to happen? Right? I'm not ready yet. And that's why I feel that sense of fear whenever I think about it. It comes in episodes, I never really dive into it, but it comes into episode like, especially during that period of time where the legendary basketball player, late Kobe Bryant, just suddenly gone like that. And I was thinking, wow, how life can be so unpredictable. And I was thinking like, what will happen? Then I keep thinking about it, right? It did not affect me a lot, but it still, how you say, hold me back. And it was not a very pleasant feeling. And after that, I think that at the end of the day, I mean, we can only control the present, live life to the fullest, right? Live every second right now, right? That's the one that matters. And it's not like we can control what will happen. But it was a mystery. I'm not sure. Of course, we are not diving into that philosophy, but I think it was the mystery, like, what will happen actually after passing on. But yeah, I mean, no one knows, right? But just to share, these 2 points, they are very true. It is something like people spend too much time and energy in when they cannot really control it as well, right?
Yes.
All right, amazing. Okay, so now let's dive into the practical part of this whole topic itself. So what are some effective practices that can empower us to achieve inner peace?
First thing is that you need to know your why. All right. So you need to know why inner peace for you. Because a lot of the time people think that inner peace is not attainable, and they just simply dismiss the idea, and just continue to live life as per normal. But it's good to take a back seat, right? To just relax and journal down. Why do you think you would want inner peace? Right? And what kind of benefits or results that you can get in your life if you can have inner peace without thinking so much about whether it's possible for you or not. Okay, I'm definitely it's possible. Okay, because I've worked with enough people to witness that inner peace is available for everyone, no matter your background, no matter what you've been through, your past. I've witnessed it like thousands and thousands of people, attaining inner peace. And if it is possible for them, it won't not be possible for you. Of course, it'll be possible for you. So then the second part is that you need to surround yourself with more and more people who are practicing self-mastery. All right, because if let's say you are new to this idea or this notion of inner peace, and if you've been surrounding with friends who are, for example, always thinking about career, work, finance, for example, then you won't be able to have the opportunity to explore what's it like to have inner peace while you are, working, or while you're working on your finances, while you are reaching your goals. It's possible to go for your goals, to go through the challenges with inner peace, right? So but the question is, are you willing to explore that for yourself, right? So then, since it's new for you, this concept or idea is new for you, then surround with people who talks about self mastery, talks about inner peace. On maybe you can join a focus group to just get to see how they interact with one another, to understand the shares, to just learn from them, being open, okay? And as the more you expose yourself to these people, the more it becomes real for you, the more it becomes possible for you. Because human beings, we are like a social creature, right? So we get easily influenced by the people that we are with. All right. So if you choose your right circle, the people that you hang out with, then it can impact you, impact your life. Since we were babies, we tend to copy what other people do, right? So I mean, that's how human beings function. That's how human beings learn. If you tap on that resources within yourself, that's how human beings can learn easily, by seeing, listening, and hearing, and smelling, and touching, and experiencing. Then you are helping yourself grow.
Very nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, know your why as well as author your environment, right? So, from there, because firstly, know your why, you know where your inner purpose, you know where to tag your value at. Not any external societal expectation, but your inner purpose. So that's where you can tag your value and know what really gives you meaning in life. And then, of course, your environment, the people around you. And that's why I think Kamilah, she has a focus group as well, especially for moms, because she wants to create a very conducive and supportive environment. So, ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself, have you identified your inner purpose, as well as have you have an amazing supportive environment to help you achieve that inner peace? Right, so maybe let's dive into each of these components. So Kamilah, how should people find their life purpose? How they should identify it?
First of all, you really get to know yourself first. Because if you don't know how you function, how you think, why you make certain decisions in your life, then it's very hard for you to find your purpose. And another thing that I want to also point out is that as human beings, we need to really understand our biology. Right? We need to understand how we function as a human being, not only just how we digest food, for example. Okay, that is also very important, because I notice some people, they consume food without realizing how that food can impact their functionality in life. For example, if you eat too much sugar, it's very hard for you to think clearly, right? To make decisions, what more to think about life purpose, right? So that's a very clear example about why it's very important for you to know yourself first. Know how you function first, then from there, it's a lot easier for you to know what your life purpose is. I know the previous speaker shared about Ikigai. That's also a powerful tool, right? In my experience, oftentimes it's long lasting if we focus on, finding out who you really are, not based on the status, not based on the career that you choose, not based on your family member that you were brought up in, okay, but who are you as a person, and then from there it's a lot easier for you to find your life purpose. Yeah, so when I work with my clients, right, I would always have conversations with them to find out, how they function in life, why they make decisions in life in such a way, why they get the results that they had in life, or why they even choose to raise a family, for example, or why they even choose to pursue that hobby, for example. So everything that we do, we know why we do it. And then, of course, it's a holistic approach. I also focus on the health part, which is the wellness. If your body is functioning optimally, it only adds much more value to your experience in life, and you can think with clarity, and you can have inner focus and stamina or energy to also look into yourself as well, because it does take effort, it does take courage, it does take energy to learn about yourself. And of course, a healthy mind and a healthy body can also support you through that journey as well.
That's very true, right? A holistic approach. Because if we neglect our health, right, we will be in a terrible condition to really even focus and to, have that peace itself. So, and I really agree with that, that when we want to achieve that, the inner peace, aside from the mindset, right, you need to be holistically developed so that you can be at a place where achieving it will be much easier for you, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why Kamilah herself, she has such an active lifestyle, going hiking and all the different, and that's something that I should learn from. Very nice. So do you practice meditation and mindfulness for inner peace?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I was just about to go into that as well, because one of the practical tips is to practice meditation, because meditation can help you be aware of your thoughts, right? Be aware of the sensations in your body, because most of the time when we get on our day-to-day lives, we are not aware whether we are hungry, whether we need to drink water, whether we need to pause and sit down and rest, whether we need to shut our eyes for a moment. We just keep on pushing through, and then suddenly we experience burnout, right? That's what is happening to most people: burnout, stress, and overwhelm. So it's a great practice. Mindfulness can train you to observe all those sensations in what's going on in your body. Yeah, mindfulness is part of self-awareness. Of course, like I said, like why you do the things you do is that you are really being mindful and really being aware of the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Before I get to know about meditation and mindfulness, I didn't realize that I've been practicing it unconsciously towards my journey to finding inner peace when I was healing from anxiety. So I didn't realize that I was actually practicing that. So it
Very
happened by
nice.
accident. Yeah.
Right. So perhaps you can share a little bit about your practice when it comes to meditation. Because for me, right, meditation, I will end up sleeping. So yeah, perhaps you can share a little bit like, is there any like practice or any different like words that you use, self-affirmation words that you use during this meditation? Yeah, what are some of your thoughts when we talk about meditation itself?
Yeah. As a Reiki master, it's important that we practice meditation. Yeah, so it's a must for Reiki masters to practice meditation on a daily basis, right? So that we become in tune and in touch with ourselves. Yeah, and also to raise our vibration and energy before we send healing to other people. Yeah, so that is a must practice. So based on my coach friend who is learning mindfulness through MBSAT certification, he said that meditation can be found easily on YouTube nowadays, right? So simple 5 minutes meditation is a good start. So there's no right and wrong way of doing meditation. So a lot of the times people think that they are doing it wrong. The idea of meditation is just to just be present and enjoy yourself and relax yourself and not think so much about whether you're doing it right or doing it wrong. Then you're diverting your focus towards your thoughts again, right? So it's just allowing to yourself to flow and just go with the flow of the instructions.
Yeah, that's a very nice perspective to it, because like sometimes during meditation we will think that we have to focus on our inner thoughts, what we are thinking of, but then that will make the thing even more chaotic. So I think it's like just go with the flow, right? Go with the flow state itself. So do you practice it in the morning, and how do you usually practice it?
Yeah, I prefer practicing it before bed. It allows me to sleep, have experience deeper sleep. I'm also like you. When I meditate, I tend to fall asleep, right? So I choose to do it during bedtime, yeah, or before I send Reiki healing, and even before I come on board to this talk, I actually did a bit of meditation as well. Yeah.
Wow, very nice. Wow, now I feel so underprepared for this talk. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, that's something to. So sometimes during like maybe big events, or maybe when you are going for a keynote speech, then do a little bit of meditation just to calm things down. Is this some of your practice also at times?
Yeah, to calm my nerves. Yeah, even though I've been speaking in front of people before, right? But I still have the nerves. Yeah, so that's just my way to calm my thoughts and my sensations in my body, so that I can be really present with the conversation. Yeah.
Very nice. And no wonder Kamilah is so calm. Yeah, even during the last talk that I witnessed, she's also always very calm, always in a very zen state. Yeah, so something for us to learn from. All right, so when we talk about like calmness, right? Nowadays, there are a lot of different external factors, like perhaps like social media, and this challenging period of time, we all know about the unfortunate school incident recently. Does all these external factors affect this form of calmness and inner peace that we can achieve, and how can we like avoid them?
Avoid the external factors, you mean?
Yes. Is this something that we have to avoid, or something that we perhaps overcome, or like go with the flow accordingly? Even with all these different distractions, we can still have the inner peace.
Yeah. One thing about inner peace is that you really got to get yourself grounded to the reality of life. Okay, so a lot of us, we are in denial. We want to think that life should go a certain way or should show up a certain way. Of course, we want the best for everyone. We want the best for the world. It's okay to visualize that. It's okay to want that. It's normal. But we know that in reality, that's not the case. In reality, there's crime. In reality, there's death. In reality, there's a pandemic. In reality, there's diseases. Okay. In reality, there's cancer. In reality, there's accidents. In reality, there's pollution. When you are grounded to the reality of life, you begin to accept it as it is without focusing so much on trying to change the reality of things, because like I said previously, you have no control over what diseases is out there, what pollution is out there. You can't control human behavior. You can't control society in that sense immediately. You don't have a magic wand to wave to immediately make this world a perfect place. So one thing about inner peace is to be able to deal with reality and be at peace with it. And being at peace doesn't mean that you are numb. You're feeling numb towards what's going on. Of course, you can care for a cause. For example, if you are someone who's passionate about helping cancer patients, then of course it's okay for you to do your best to contribute to people who are, maybe you want to raise fund for cancer foundation and all that. It's okay, by all means do that. But if you keep on feeding yourself with news after news and after news, and you feel like you want to save the world, sometimes we have this idea that, oh, when I show interest in what's going on in the news and I feel the pain that's going on in this world, it gives you a false sense of change. It gives you a false sense of that you are actually making a difference by reading all this news.
Yeah, totally understand.
So if you really care about a cause, like I said, you can go and focus on a foundation and help them out or rally them out. But if you want to take on the burden of the world on your shoulders, then all you get is suffering. All you experience is pain and suffering. I mean, that's also a choice. I mean, if that's something that you want to experience in life, of course, there's always consequences if you choose that path. Yeah.
Must learn to let go, yeah?
Must learn to let go of control.
Very nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have been learning so much. So, and be enjoying this live session thus far. Do give it lots of thumbs up, share it out so that more people will be able to be enriched by it. All right, so Kamilah, right now, we are facing a very tough and challenging time, especially like recently, there's the heightened alert and all those unfortunate incidents. How can we continue to maintain inner peace? Right? And let's say even in the situation where there's a sudden quarrel or a sudden outburst, how can we maintain it? Although sometimes the feelings, it can be so overwhelming, how can we still maintain it?
Choose what you are focusing on, right? So of course, we as human beings, it's innate need for us to survive, right? It's instinctively we want to survive life. We want to live life. Acknowledge that. It's okay to acknowledge that, we have that fear, we have that worry. So inner peace is also not about denying how we feel. Inner peace is also about accepting how we feel, just as how we are accepting how the world is showing up right now. We also must be able to show compassion and understanding and love towards ourselves by accepting that, oh, right now I'm currently feeling worried, sad and anxious, for example. So when you acknowledge those feelings, then you can ask, where are those feelings coming from? If it's impacting your day-to-day functionality at work, All right. And if you're noticing that, then of course, there's a lot of helplines that you can reach out to. So it's okay during this pandemic, it's okay to ask help for help. Okay. And there is nothing wrong to ask for help. In fact, it shows that you are courageous when you are, attending to your needs and you are attending to yourself. You are rescuing yourself. We always think that, oh, when we rescue other people, it's a noble act. But we never think about we also is in need to attend to ourselves if we are in danger, for example, if we are in this constant bubble of worry and anxiety. That's one. And also focus on what we want rather than focusing on what we do not want. Focus on what we want and what we can control. Right. So for example, if you want safety for your children, I mean that's a given, right? Most of the time, of course we want safety for our kids. So if you want safety for our kids, then we follow the guidelines that's recommended by the government. If let's say you have to do social distancing, then of course you do that. And if you have to gather only 2% at a time, then you follow that, right? And you put on your mask properly, wash your hands. You are in alignment and acting congruently towards what you want. If you say you want safety, then on your part, act on that so that it's you are acting from a space of integrity. So and honoring what you want for yourself. And then also, if let's say you don't know how to get what you want, for example, if you lost your job, okay, and you don't know how to find a new job, and you want to find a new job, right? So when you focus on that what you want a job and you don't know how, you can ask how. Okay, like I say, it's okay to ask for help. All right, and practice compassion towards yourself, like I said, and then ask what you need and always ask how to get what you need. And also talk to focus groups, or be surrounded with supportive family members and friends. Yeah. So if let's say you're not someone who needs help and you're someone who's at a better position than most people, for example, you're financially secure, you're safe, you don't have to worry about finances or feeding your family. But at the same time, you do have that worry of, okay, what happens your family have COVID, you have this worry and fear and anxiety. I mean, it can happen to anyone, right? Even if you are in a stable situation. If that's the case, then explore who you can help or support. If you are in the position where you can help and support others, when you shift your focus from yourself to other people, then your attention is on supporting the other person and helping the other person. All right. So that could also give you the opportunity to experience inner peace. Every one of us have inner peace, right? It's within us. It's within us. You don't need to look so far. Even right now, if you close your eyes, I ask you to imagine that you are in a beautiful island, you're in a safe country, you're taken care of, and you get to do what you want in life, and you are happy. You visualize yourself smiling and laughing with people that you love, and you see that people around you are smiling and laughing. And if you visualize that for a moment, you can already experience inner peace right now. It's not going anywhere. It's there. As long as you consistently tap into it by doing all these practices and focusing on what you should be focusing on, to support that practice, to become more consistent at it, to know that you can always experience inner peace no matter the challenges. That's the practice or the exercise that I recommend.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that is a lot of valuable wisdom right there. So if you have not caught it, I highly recommend all of you to watch the replay because there's a lot of wisdom right there. So first off, acknowledge your feeling. I know a lot of people, when they feel negative, they try to avoid that feeling, or they try to escape from it, or they try to ignore it. But the first step that Kamilah mentioned is to really acknowledge it, right? Don't ignore it. Acknowledge the fact that you are feeling it, right? And following which, you want to focus on what you want, not what you don't want, right? Because if you focus on what you want, you will start to move towards it. You will start to gravitate towards it. It will be more positive compared to just focusing on all the very negative. And of course, if you need to reach out for help, there are always different support groups out there. There are always different people, who are willing to give a helping hand. So do reach out. And if you feel that you do not need help, you are at a very stable place, give help instead, right? Because when we have that abundance, when we shift the focus from ourselves to others, we can also achieve that peace. Very beautiful. Wow, very nice. All right, so perhaps a final question for today from me. In this journey of yours, what is one of the most important learning lessons that you have about life and inner peace in general?
Learning how to say no. Back then, I used to say yes to a lot of people. I used to say yes to my parents, my in-laws, my colleagues, my bosses, my clients, my husband, my kids, my sister. So I was saying yes to a lot of things, and that I became overwhelmed that I couldn't even take care of myself. Yeah, and back then I was also taking care of my former father-in-law who had Alzheimer's. Yeah, so it was very challenging for me to, go through that period and while saying yes to everybody. Yeah, so I didn't know how to say no because of the face value. Like, I didn't want people to think that I was incompetent or I was incapable of caring for the elderly, or I wasn't a supportive wife. I didn't want people to think that of me. So I was always focusing on my reputation, like looking good in front of others. Yeah, so it's very important that we learn how to say no, because just as much as you need to care for other people, as much as the other person needs caring, you also need the same amount of caring. Self-love is overrated, but it is also underrated at the same time. People don't understand the importance of self-love. It's very, very important. And self-love is not selfish. Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with that. It is only because we take care of ourselves, then we are able to give to other people as well. You know, there's this analogy that if we have a cup of water and we want to give it to people, it must have water in the first place. And I love how Kamilah shared this learning lesson, because I know a lot of us out there, we are having difficulty to say no to others because we are afraid, once again, to be judged by others, right? Other people's perception of us. And I think Kamilah really put that very nicely. And that is sometimes at the end of the day, we have to learn to prioritize. We have to learn to say no so that we can take care of ourselves. Only when we are at the state of abundance, then can we give more to other people, right? So practice self-love. Amazing. Thank you so much, Kamilah, for your really, really very enriching sharing. So perhaps you can share with us, if we want to learn more from you, how can we connect with you, and how can we know more about your services?
Follow me on Instagram at Kamilah MS. And also there's a Reiki profile, which is K Heart Space Mastery. And also Kamilah MS Inner Peace on Facebook. You can also book a one-to-one free conversation. I am opening to speak those of you who wants to explore inner peace, or who are currently facing challenges in your life, your career, or you really want to explore what inner peace is like for you. Then you can book me for a conversation, for a 30 minutes conversation, which is tinyurl.com/Kamilah MS. And Kamilah MS Discovery, I think the link is on top, right? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So please book, don't hesitate. You won't lose a lot, but you learn a lot.
Yeah, amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I've placed all the social media platforms links on top already. Do connect with Kamilah so that you can really learn more from her. Today, this 1 hour, we have already learned so much from her. So I'm sure that if you connect with her, with all her content, she gives a lot of content as well, a lot of value. You can learn even more. And do book the discovery call. She can certainly help you to achieve that inner peace and find the answer you need in your life so that you can live a fulfilling and meaningful life. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, big thank you for joining us tonight. Hope that this session has been of value add to all of you, and definitely a huge thank you to Kamilah for a really very generous sharing. We have learned so much, and the topic of inner peace is truly very important, especially during this challenging period of time. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give our heartfelt appreciation to Kamilah, and once again, very thank you to all of you also for being here tonight, learning with all of us. All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, take care, stay safe, bye-bye.